Welcome to this explainer. We are jumping right in today because we're looking at an extraordinary fossil discovery that literally rewrote the history books. For decades, paleontologists were completely in the dark about a massive chunk of ancient history, specifically on the African continent. But then, an incredible discovery in the sands of Egypt, spearheaded by Dr. Hesham Sallam, completely changed our understanding of Earth's ancient geography. To really grasp why this discovery is such a game-changer, we have to start with a massive, mind-boggling mystery. For the longest time, researchers were staring at a glaring 30-million-year gap in the late Cretaceous fossil record of Africa. Just think about that for a second. 30 million years where we had almost zero clues about the land-living vertebrates roaming the continent. It was incredibly frustrating for scientists. Everyone was asking the exact same question: where were Africa's last dinosaurs hiding?
Section 1. The Missing Dinosaur Gap. Africa's 30-million-year mystery.
So we're talking about the late Cretaceous period, right? Roughly 70 to 80 million years ago. This is the final chapter of the dinosaurs, right before the big mass extinction event. And during this epoch, the world's continents were shifting dramatically. Now, earlier expeditions, like a German one back in 1911, actually did find some fossils in Egypt, but they were tragically destroyed during World War II bombings. Because of that loss, heading into the 21st century, the late Cretaceous in Africa remained this giant, tantalizing blank spot on the map.
Section 2. A Fateful Desert Discovery. The Hunt in the Dakhla Oasis.
Fast forward to December 2013. We've got an Egyptian-led team of researchers from Mansourasaurus University, led by Dr. Hesham Sallam. They were on what was supposed to be a pretty routine trip in the Western Desert, about 750 kilometers southwest of Cairo. They took a new road that gave them a view of some unexplored rock exposures, and they only had about half an hour to look around before making the long drive back. Almost immediately, they stumbled upon an incredible sight, but they had to leave it and come back weeks later fully prepared. They endured scorching heat, sandstorms, and pouring rain to excavate 19 heavy plaster jackets of bone. Finally, after years of meticulous study, this monumental find was published in 2018.
You know, the actual moment of discovery is pretty hilarious. Professor Sallam was walking the site, and one of his student researchers, Sarah Saber, called him over. She was brushing off what she thought was a rock, but nope, it was a dinosaur bone. The ground was literally covered in them. Sallam actually joked later that he saw it first but left it as a test for her. Her response: "No, professor, you stepped all over the bones." It's just one of those great human moments in science where a simple accident leads to a total paradigm shift.
During the excavation, finding the left dentary bone, the lower jaw, that was the absolute turning point. Why? Well, it had a really pronounced chin. That specific diagnostic feature told the team right away that they weren't just looking at random fragments. They were dealing with a massive, highly significant sauropod dinosaur.
Getting it out of the desert, though, that was only half the battle. Once they got those 19 massive plaster jackets back to Mansourasaurus University, they desperately needed CT scans. But they didn't have a dedicated facility for gigantic rocks, so they literally wheeled these massive jackets into a local human hospital. You can only imagine the faces on the medical staff. Somebody actually asked if the patient was sick, and Dr. Sallam had to be like, well, it's been dead for at least 75 million years.
Section 3. Meet the Mansourasaurus, Africa's late Cretaceous giant.
They named it Mansourasaurus Shahine, proudly honoring Mansour University and Mona Shaheen, one of the founders of their paleontology department. The pieces the team managed to preserve, skull bones, that lower jaw, neck and back vertebrae, ribs, shoulder, and forelimb bones, make it the most complete dinosaur specimen from the late Cretaceous ever found in Africa. And it's wild to think that back then, the Western Desert wasn't a desert at all. It was this lush, green, coastal jungle environment. To really wrap our heads around this animal, let's talk scale. Mansourasaurus was a beast, even if it was technically on the smaller side for its specific family tree. We're talking roughly 10 meters in length from its small head to the tip of its tail. That is the size of a city bus, and its torso weighed several tons, basically the size and weight of an African elephant. Just picture a city bus made of muscle and bone walking right past you.
As for its traits, Mansourasaurus belongs to the Titanosaur group, which features some of the largest creatures to ever walk the planet. It was a massive, long-necked plant eater, and researchers even found evidence of osteoderms, these bony plates embedded right into its skin acting like armor. But here is the crazy part. Some of the bones in its front legs hadn't fully fused together yet. For paleontologists, that means this massive, bus-sized creature was actually a juvenile. It hadn't even reached its full adult size. No way, right?
Section 4. Rewriting Ancient Geography. the DNA twist.
Now we get to the absolute core of this explainer. Finding a dinosaur is awesome, for sure, but the real impact of Mansourasaurus is how it completely shattered our theories about the ancient map of the world. The old assumption was that Africa was this isolated island continent during the late Cretaceous. The thought was that its animals were totally cut off, evolving in their own weird, unique ways, kind of like Australia today. But this new discovery proved that land connections absolutely had to exist, allowing European and Asian dinosaurs to move into Africa.
By closely examining the bones, Dr. Sallam's team realized that Mansourasaurus was actually more closely related to dinosaurs from Europe and Asia than it was to dinosaurs found further south in Africa or even South America. This was a stunning twist. It gave us the very first unambiguous evidence that at the end of the dinosaurs' reign, there were land bridges, or at least coastal routes, connecting Africa and Europe. They weren't isolated at all.
And this changes everything we know about that ancient ecosystem. I absolutely love this quote from Dr. Sallam. "We found the giraffe, where's the lion?" He hit the nail right on the head. Discovering this massive plant eater proves that an entire undiscovered ecosystem had to have existed alongside it. You don't have a bus-sized herbivore walking around without some seriously terrifying, large-scale predators hunting it. It opens up a whole new chapter for African paleontology. Section 5. An Egyptian Scientific Legacy. Local Heroes of Paleontology. This brings us to the human side of this incredible story. For the longest time, the history of paleontology in Egypt involved foreign researchers coming in, extracting fossils, and taking them abroad. But this discovery completely flipped the script. The Mansoura University Vertebrate Paleontology Center is the very first of its kind in the entire Middle East. This landmark excavation was led entirely by Egyptian researchers, digging right in their own backyard. And beyond the science itself, it sparked massive public interest, getting everyday people excited about dinosaurs and local science.
Standing out there in the scorching desert sun, looking at those first exposed bones, Dr. Sallam told his students, "If this comes out as I expect, your names will go down in history." And you know what? He was absolutely right. Through sheer perseverance, this local team managed to fill a 30-million-year gap in the fossil record and put Egyptian paleontology firmly on the global map.
So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. If a single desert road trip could unearth a school bus-sized dinosaur that redraws the entire map of the ancient world, what other massive ancient secrets are still buried beneath the vast sands of the Sahara? We found the giraffe. Now we just have to find the lion. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your curiosity alive.